Welcome back to our next speaker presentation in the Connecting Industry Conference Western Australia. You're about to hear from Nigel from Morley-Ellenbrook Line Project. The Morley-Ellenbrook Line Project is Perth's largest transport project since the Mandurah line and will support more than 6,500 jobs. The 21-kilometre rail line will give people living and working in Perth's northeastern suburbs more transport choice. And spurring off the Midland line from Bayswater Station, the rail line will travel into the centre of the Tonkin Highway, or through the centre of the Tonkin Highway, through north of Marshall Road and alongside the western side of Drumpellier Drive, ending at Ellenbrook. The rail line will have 5 new stations: Ellenbrook, Whiteman Park, Malaga, Noranda and Morley, and future-proofing for an additional station at Bennett Springs East. Nigel Hunt joining us today is the Principal Project Director for the Morley-Ellenbrook Line. Nigel has over 30 years' experience in design and construction of passenger freight and heavy haul railways. His experience includes management roles for design and construction of Perth's last major new railway line to Mandurah, and he's also worked in the Pilbara on major railway and non-process infrastructure projects for the mining sector. Please welcome Metronet Morley-Ellenbrook Line Principal Project Director Neil Hunt to the stage.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I'll just share my screen and bring up my presentation and we'll get going. Thank you very much. I'd just like to start with an acknowledgement of country. So Metronet acknowledges the people of the Noongar Nation as traditional custodians of the land and waters on which the program of projects is located. As we start, I suppose it would be really useful for me to talk about Metronet. So Metronet is a program of projects that the state government is running. I work in the Office of Major Transport Infrastructure Delivery, or OMTID, and the lead delivery agency is the PTA. So OMTID is a collection of major projects out of the Public Transport Authority, PTA, and Main Roads WA, and we've come together, working closely together to deliver all the infrastructure projects that the state government are looking at doing. So, as Nicola said, we've got 21 kilometres of rail for Morley-Ellenbrook Line, but there is 72 kilometres of new railway being built in this program of projects, and this is what's called Stage 1. What Stage 2 is hasn't been released. So for the Ellenbrook Line, it's not just one project. There's a series of projects. There's 3 main alliances. So the alliance is the contracting vehicle and the delivery vehicle to build all the infrastructure that we're trying to build. On the Ellenbrook Line, we've got 3 main alliances. The first is the new Bayswater Station. The alliance partner we have there is Coleman Rail and the PTA. We're using the Tonkin Gap Alliance, which is actually a main roads alliance to build enabling works along Tonkin Highway. And then we have the main Morley-Ellenbrook Line, or MEL as we call it, project works, which is the MEL Connects Alliance, and the contracting partner there is Lang O'Rourke. So just a very brief overview of these projects. The Bayswater Station is a significant new station. It's it's where all the Ellenbrook Line, the Midland Line, and the new airport line will all intersect. And so we're upgrading the station and we're building a second platform there so that we can have all these lines converge together. And I've just got some artists' impressions of what it will look like, significantly different to what we've got there at the moment. If any of you have ever seen that small heritage station there, a lot of input from the local community on what this station looks like. And I think the outcome's going to be great in terms of benefits to the community you can see there's a lot of open plaza area underneath the railway there. We've got new tenancies. It's going to make a difference to that community. I've just got a few. We're actually started work there. We're doing some board piles have been put in. I've just got a few photos of some progress photos. Sheet piling to protect the existing station to keep it operational and the lines operational while we build the southern platform. So the timeline for that station, we're designing right at the moment. We should be finished design by the end of the year. Construction has started. This year and next year would be the main construction periods. In July next year, we have a major shut planned, 16-day shut of the line to bring the southern platform into completion and operation, and a turn back to the west of the station, bring that into service as well. And then once that's completed, we finish the northern platform, and that should be operational by mid-23. Tonkin Gap, as I said, they're building some enabling works and for the railway. So I've got some pictures here of some pier protection they're doing. They're also building traffic barriers, formation, drainage, etc., so that the railway can be built within that median. They're doing roadworks to widen the median to allow the railway to go through. And finally, we come to the Morley-Ellenbrook line. As we said, 21 kilometres of rail, 5 stations on that line. You can see we go around Whiteman Park, which is a major tourist park and a recreational park. A lot of native vegetation. People go running and cycling through the park. A lot of activities there. So the area from Malaga to Ellenbrook there's a lot of greenfields construction in there, whereas as we go down Tonkin Highway and through to Bayswater is brownfields construction. If you'd listened to the podcast that I did, I talked about a school where we went through a school and bisected the playing fields from the buildings, and that's way up here at Ellenbrook, just south of the Ellenbrook station. So here's some metrics about the line. And we have this in the handouts. You can see these handouts are available afterwards. Here are some artists' impressions of what the stations will look like. We're just now going through the development approval process for Ellenbrook Station, and the next one will be Malaga. So we're constructing basically. When we talk about construction, I'll just go back. We're constructing mainly, you could think of it as Ellenbrook back into the city. So the last connection we'll do will be the connection of the line to Bayswater. So that's how we're planning to construct. We have started some early works on this project, but they're more to do with geotech testing, survey, getting compounds set up, etc. So the timeline we have for this project is the design process is happening this year. It will go into next year as well. Heavy construction will start next year, 22, 23. Commissioning, entry into service is planned for 24, and with passenger lines operational by the end of 2024. If we go on to procurement, so most of the procurement on the project is directly through the Alliance. So what I've got to present to you today is information I've gathered from the Alliance. There are a few issues that are quite key to the government and what they're trying to achieve out of the construction of these the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, and you need to keep those in mind when you're looking at trying to win work. So this is more than an infrastructure project. This is about connecting communities, creating precincts. We're looking at how we can develop the northeast corridor by building this line. So there's precincts planned around Malaga, around Whiteman Park, and around Bennett Springs. So that's one of the things we look at. But we're also looking at how can we increase Aboriginal engagement and procurement opportunities. How can we increase the West Australian local content as much as possible? How can we increase sustainability of the construction industry, the maintenance industry? How can we increase sustainability in general in the way that we construct? Can we reuse material? Is there opportunities on this project to use things like recycled crushed concrete, for instance? Is there opportunities to use sustainable energy, so solar panels? Is there ways that we can minimise wastage on site? So these are the sort of things that the government is looking at. Also, how can we, given that we've just come through a pandemic, how can we increase the number of trainees and apprentices on the projects? So when you're thinking about engaging and connecting with the Metronet projects, there's some of the things that you should have in the back of your mind. In terms of some of the current procurement packages that we've got, I've just listed out here the ones that are considered a priority at the moment. So some of these are obviously early works like the demolition, but we're also looking at some of the longer lead items and some of the things like reinforcing where prices are going up, and we'd like to start stockpiling some of those resources now. As I said, Aboriginal engagement is one of, I suppose you could call it a hot button for the government that you need to think about. We have a whole strategy that Metronet has developed called the Nala Biddy strategy. You can see that online. It has 5 streams, and 2 of those streams relate to procurement. One's about Aboriginal employment, engagement, and we have targets set around the number of full-time employees that are Indigenous, and Aboriginal procurement is about the number of packages that are let to Aboriginal businesses that are registered Aboriginal businesses. And already there's been about 30 scopes on the Morley-Ellenbrook line that have been identified that fit into that category. And what we've found with the Aboriginal procurement, if you're an Aboriginal business, the contractors are looking at long-term relationships. If you can get involved in a project now and you perform well, then it's they like to take those businesses onto the next projects that they're working on. In terms of industry engagement, Malconnex, the Alliance, is having a business forum later in July where they'll be briefing industry on what they require, how to interact, and what work packages are being released, and the timing around those work packages. They are also looking at, they're developing it now with the Wirrapunda Foundation on a separate forum around Aboriginal engagement, which will be not just about the packages coming up, but giving a bit more information on how those companies can interact and what they need to provide to make sure that they get the best submission they possibly can. As part of our Nalabidi strategy, there's cultural awareness training is required by all workers, so that's something else that you need to be aware of. And then what we do have is that I've got an email there, how you can directly link in with the procurement team at Lang O'Rourke, but also future opportunities will be shown on the ICN Gateway portal, and I know that later this morning you'll get a session with someone from ICN. So we will, on all our projects, use the ICN Gateway so you can find opportunities there. If we go to Bayswater Station, they have already held a session, an industry forum, talking about what they require. And they have also met separately with Aboriginal businesses as well. They are still going through their procurement process. They still have many packages to procure. They're already set up on the ICN Gateway portal, and you can find them and interact with them through that. So here's a list of some of their current priority packages. And as I said, they have already started construction on site. Look, I put this slide in just to show you that these are government projects. So there will be a process around all procurement. We have to be auditable in all that we do and show that we're offering value for money to the government for the funds that we're expending. So I'm not planning to go through this slide other than to show you that there is a process. You will have to apply. It will be competitive. You will have to tender. There will be some negotiation. So it's a typical government process. Not all industry works in that way, but you need to be aware that you will have to go through those processes. As I said, we can go through Gateway to see things. Procurement at Evolve Bayswater is their email. They have pre-qualification questionnaires as well, so they can shortlist companies. So finally, I thought I would talk about just Metronet itself. We have, as I said, I showed this slide earlier, there are more projects than just the Ellenbrook line. We have the level crossing removals coming up. We have Byford Rail Extension. Those are at tender stage. Midland Station. Also, there is ongoing works, the Thornley-Coburn line, the Yanship line. They're already under construction. So there's a lot of work that you can get involved in the Metronet program of projects. Metronet itself has its own website, www.metronet.wa.gov.au. They have a construction business register on that website, and they encourage businesses to register, and then they provide the information from those registers to the various projects. Metronet does procure its own services, mainly white-collar services, consultants and the like, and all those work packages are generally released via Tenders WA if they're a large package. If they're a small package, they do have some panels, but there's a lot of I'd encourage you, if you're in the white-collar space, to be looking at Tenders WA. As I said, there are some key elements that the government's looking to incorporate. Part of the projects are the government's way of spending money, putting that into the economy, and looking at getting people back into the workforce after the COVID pandemic. So they've got TAFE programs that are free to get people construction ready. They are looking at what trainees and apprentices the companies are using and are encouraging that as such. Aboriginal procurement, they've set targets. We've talked about that. Sustainability is the other one. So that's really all from me. There is Metronet does have an info line if you've got any questions, and also you can, if you want to directly ask questions of me, you can just send through emails to that info line, and they'll come to me. But in terms of what I'd like to say to you, I think that's it. So
thank you, Nigel.
Thank you for your time. Yes.
I did have one question, and it was good because towards the end of your presentation, you actually showed us some of the functionality of the Metronet homepage. I think it's important that everybody knows you can actually register for project updates on that website as well.
Yes.
Not just for this project, for all Metronet projects.
For all projects. And in fact, on our projects, we talk to the community. So even individual communities within projects, there's updates to those individual communities. So we have community reference groups. We've got 4 of them on the Ellenbrook line, and each of those communities have their own update mechanisms, whether it's Facebook, whether it's the website, etc. So, yes.
So many ways to do it. So we want to register for the ICN gateway, make sure we're tracking your packages coming out. We want to get onto your construction register as well and subscribe to your project updates so we know what you guys are up to, and we can hopefully take advantage of some of those incredible opportunities you talked about in your procurement slides.
That's it, yes. And also you can directly liaise with the alliances themselves.
Fantastic. If anybody would like to have a further chat with Nigel, you can head to the lounge by hitting the button on your left-hand screen. Nigel will be at the Morley-Ellenbrook table for the next 30 minutes to answer your questions. So if you enter the lounge and take a seat at the table, if there's no seats available, you can listen to the discussion, but we do have the presentation available for you in handouts that gives you all the relevant contact details so you can reach out to the project and, of course, to Nigel. Nigel, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicola.